Okay, so we're going to learn a simple layer by layer method to solve the Megaminx. So easy that a 3-year-old can do it. In order to use this method, you need to know how to solve a 3x3 Rubik's Cube. So if you don't know how to do that, don't go any further because none of this will make any sense. We're going to solve this Megaminx with a layer by layer method, always keeping white on the bottom and gray on the top. And we're going to solve this, the first layer, the second layer, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and the seventh layer, the top layer, is the last layer. So in order to do that, what we need to do is solve the white edge pieces forming a white star on the bottom. That's equivalent to the white cross on the Rubik's 3x3. So in order to do that, we're just going to look for white edge pieces, and we're going to position them correctly. So this one here is pretty simple. So I have the red white, and it's solved. So let's look for another one. So here's the purple white. So I'm just going to move it over and get purple touching purple, and then spin this down so the white touches white, purple touches purple. So those two are solved. Let's just look for another one. So here's one. It's the yellow white. Notice it's flipped wrong. It's oriented wrong. So what I have to do is move it up and then just flip it. Yellow touching yellow, spin it down. Same method we use on the Rubik's 3x3. So here's the white green. So it needs to go down here again. That's wrong. So what I need to do is flip it so the green touches green, spin it down to the white. And then where's our last one hiding, where it's at? Okay, so here we go. So here we've got the blue white. So I can move this all the way around the Megaminx, all the way around here. Or what I can do is I can spin it down here. That's going to kick this out. So what I want to do is move this empty spot over here, spin it down. Now it's correct relative to all the colors. So if you're familiar with the Rubik's, you already understand that concept. So now we have the white star on the bottom, which is equivalent to white cross. So the next thing we need to do is solve the corner pieces. We got a lucky insert here. So that one's correct, it matches. Now here's another one. So we're going to look for any corner piece with a white. That needs to go down here. So for example, this white, yellow, and blue needs to go here without messing this up. And all we're going to do is our simple 3x3, slap the white to insert the corner. So if you're familiar with my tutorials, you understand that. There's other ways to insert it. I'll show the other ways as we go around, but that's the one you're going to be used to if you came from my tutorials. And of course, if it's on the other side, of course, if it's on what have I done? If it's on this side. All right. So where'd that other one go? Okay, we want this guy. All right. So now what we can do is move this to the top, run it over here, and then bring it down. That's where it needs to go. So again, it needs to go here without messing that up. So one way to do it is to slap the white. The other way is, if you're familiar with just bringing the empty slot up and backing it in, that's fine too, whatever you're familiar with. And then of course, if you know F2L, you can solve the second layer at the same time if you know how to do that. We may actually do that right here. So here's a here's an F2L case right here. It's not really an ideal one for a beginner though. So what I'm going to do is, this is not an ideal case for a beginner, but so I can insert this right here, but I know I can connect these two together. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And now they're connected, and I just back them in. One reason you want to know how to back pieces in instead of just slapping the white is because if you happen to come across two that are already connected, you don't want to split them to insert that. You want to keep them together. So bring the empty slot up, back it in, and solve it. Okay, so now we're looking for any corner with a white piece. So this one goes here. So it's a white, green, purple. It needs to go right here. So it's inserted. So now that's all of the first layer, as you can see. So that's all the edges and the corners. So now what we want to do is work our way around and solve the second layer. So some of these we got, but what I recommend we do is let's start from the orange side. We're going to do that throughout this, and there's going to be a reason that's going to make more sense later. But right now, just trust me. So start here. This one's already solved. So let's work our way to the right, turning the Megaminx clockwise. So now we're looking for the yellow-blue edge piece to solve. So we're just going to look around for it. Here it is. So what I want to do to get that over here, I'm just going to move it to the top. Anytime I move something to the top and I turn aside, I always return the side. So for example, when I move this to the top and kick it over, I'm going to return this back to normal. That's not always necessary, but it's a good habit. I'll explain more about that later. So now what I want to do is this edge piece needs to go down here. What I want to do is just turn it till it matches one of these. So it doesn't match that. So let's turn it over here and it does match this. So now we just use our layer 2 insert we learned on the Rubik's 3x3. So blue touching blue, yellow away from yellow, and then this corner will go up and chase it. All right, it ran away because it's a special rabbit. How do you catch a special rabbit? You sneak up on it. That's how it grabbed it. So if you don't get that, don't worry. You're not going to get it. If you watched my first video, you do get that. So now let's go blue-red. We're looking for a blue-red. Where is it at? Right here. So same thing. I want to move this to the top. And then I'm going to spin it until I match one of these. It doesn't match that. It matches this. Okay, so we need that to go here, right there, without messing this up. So how do we do that? What we're going to do is we're just going to take this out and connect it with that. So blue touching blue, red away from red, take the corner up, chase it, it ran away, we come back, slap the white. As soon as we do that, it's going to connect, and then we insert. I'm going to show another method on the next one. We're going to keep working to the right, turning the Megaminx clockwise. We need a red green. So where is red green? What the? Okay, there it is. I'm going to move it to the top. Now we're going to spin red green down until it touches one of these. So not that one, touches this. If it was flipped and the green was here, then I would put it there. It's just, you know, you got to match them. All right, so now red touching red, green away from green. Instead of making the corner go that way to chase it, I'm going to go the opposite way. Then when I return this, it connects right there. So, and then I'll back that in the empty slot. So it's good to know both methods, because sometimes you get lucky and you have a corner and edge paired and you don't want to break them up using the first method. Okay, so now we need a green, purple right here. All right, so green touching green, purple away from purple. We're going to do that same method again. Now they connect, and then in order to insert it, I can't just do that because it messes that up. So what I do is I kick it over here, bring this empty slot up, back it into the empty slot, solve it. Okay, so that is all of layer 2. So that's exactly like a Rubik's Cube. You should be able to do that with no help at all. So now we're going to go back to the orange side. We're always going to work from the orange side. And what we're going to do is we're going to solve layer 3. And in order to do that, I'm looking for the orange, purple, and yellow. Hopefully that's not too dark on camera. I can't really tell very much. Okay, so orange, purple, and yellow. So it's right here, but I actually don't want to connect it with that. All right, so it's right here. And you can see I have the orange, purple, yellow in the right place, but it's flipped wrong. So that may seem like it's a difficult problem to solve, but it's actually really simple. All we need to do is move it back to the top and turn it to where orange touches orange, and then it's solved. So it's that easy. Now what we want to do is we can go around and solve the third layer corner on all these, but I find it easier if we go ahead and solve the fourth layer edges while we're here. So I'm going to start with the one on the left, then the one on the right, and then we're going to work our way to the right. So if I start here, I need the orange purple, and it's right here. Okay, so I need it with the orange touching orange, not the purple. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to flip this edge. Use whatever method that you know how to do to flip an edge, and you should know how to do that at this point just from the Rubik's 3x3. If you don't, you need to learn that before you go any further. Okay, so I'm going to flip that. So for example, if I didn't have to flip it and it was just like this, let's start with that first and then I'll talk more about flipping them. This needs to go here without messing this up. So how can we do that? That's pretty simple. All we're going to do is hide this corner piece, solve this edge, and then just return the corner piece. It's that easy. While we do this, we're always going to keep white on the bottom, gray on the top. We're never going to make a new bottom. That just adds to too much confusion for a beginner, and you're going to mess everything up. So we solve that. Next, we have to solve this one. So we need what? The orange yellow. So where's an orange yellow? Right here. So I'm going to put it on the top, turn that back. All right, so now we have the orange yellow. So it needs to go right here without messing that up. So how do we do that? All we're going to do is hide these two pieces that we've already solved. We're going to solve that edge and then just return this. So now third layer, fourth layer are solved, and then we're going to work our way to the right. So now we're looking for green, yellow, blue, which is right here. So it's in the right place, but it's flipped wrong. Again, that's really easy for us to solve. We can just turn it like that, and it's right. So for example, if it's blue touching, that's not right. We just have to move it, and you got to get familiar with flipping pieces. Don't memorize it, just understand the concept. Okay, so in any event, now we need to solve this edge and this edge. So we're looking for a green yellow. Where is that? Okay, so that's over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it to the top. All right, so now I've got green yellow. It needs to come down here without messing this up. So all I'm going to do is hide this, solve this edge, and then return this corner. So now I need the green blue. It's right here. Let's say, for example, I had it like that. So that's not right because I need the green touching the green. So I'm going to move it over here with green touching green. So now it needs to go down here without messing this up. So that means I have to hide this. But when I do that, now I'm messing up some work I've already built. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to destroy my progress. So we have a real simple solution for that. To get this here without messing any of this up, all I'm going to do is hide this piece, solve this edge, then I return this, and then I return this. It's pretty easy to return it without memorizing because you're just matching things back up. So it's it may seem a little confusing at first. It's a really simple concept that you'll get it pretty quick. Okay, so pink, blue, red corner is what we're looking for. Where is it? All the way down here. So I'm going to put that on the top. Remember, gray stays on the top, white stays on the bottom. Now that it's on the top, I want the pink touching pink so that I can spin it down here. Now the piece I need is trapped right there. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to untrap it. You can do that a number of different ways. That's one way. But all right, so now I've got pink touching pink. Blue needs to come down here. In order to do that, I'm going to hide this piece, solve that, return this piece. Now I need pink and red. Where is pink and red? Okay, so it's here, so I'm going to move that to the top. The reason when we move a piece up, we always want to, if we turn a side, we always want to return it. This is a good example because this is solved work, so I want to return it. So it's good to be in that habit even if I'm doing it on a side that's not solved. So when I move this to the top, I don't want to mess this up, so I move it to the top and then I just return this. So that's a good habit to get into. So a lot of the concepts I tell you, they might not make sense at first, but they will later. So now I need this. So pink touching pink, this piece needs to go here. So again, we need to hide this, solve, return, return. All right, so look what we've done so far. We've solved this, this block, and now we're here. Beige, red, green. So we're looking for that corner piece. Here it is, so I'm going to put it on the top, return that work. All right, see, that's not right, so what I need to do is match beige touching beige, put it down here, it's solved correct. Now I need the beige red. Where's it at? I'm going to put it on the top. Okay, so here's a good example where it doesn't match, so now I have to flip that, but that's going to be pretty easy. So all I'm going to do is just turn this like that. Now I've got to come back and fix this work, so just remember that. So all I'm going to do is turn that. Then I'm going to hide this, solve the edge, return that, and return that. That's just one method to flip it. There's a lot of different methods. You need to play with them all. Oh, what did I do here? Did I miss this one, or did I actually just make a mistake? I don't know. I don't remember. I'll go back and watch the video. But in any event, maybe I just forgot to solve it, or who knows. So beige green. So I'm looking for beige green. All right, so here we go. Beige green needs to go right here. So remember, it needs to go here. I don't want to mess this up, but if I hide that, I'll mess this up. So I need to hide this, solve this edge, return, return. So I can't return it the wrong way by accident because I can clearly see that it won't be solved. So when you return it, it'll be obvious because you'll have to solve it. Okay, so now we're on our last unsolved layer 3 and 4 block. So I need the blue, green, purple right here. Right here. So blue, green, purple. So we can see it doesn't match that way. And if I move it here, it doesn't match that way. So what am I going to do? Just kick it around. Just keep kicking it. Kick it like a can till it's the way you want. All right. So now that matches here. And I'm looking for this edge. Blue, green, where it's at. 2 turntables and a microphone. All right. Blue, green is flipped wrong. That's okay. So I'm just going to put it here. I need to hide this. But now I'm all the way back around to some solved work. This is the first time we've worked to the right that we've had something solved here. And the reason we did that was because we didn't want to have to worry over here. We always made this the unsolved portion. But now that I'm actually got some solved work here, I will have to be mindful of this and not mess that work up. Okay, so let's start back. So I need this blue to match. So I'm going to match that blue there. Okay, I need to hide this to solve this, but I don't want to mess that work up. So what I'm going to do is turn that work to hide it. Then when I hide this, none of that matters. I solve this, I put this back, and then I just have to remember to put this back. I turned this to flip the edge was the only reason. So now my last edge in layer 4. So blue, purple. Where is, it's right here. All right, so I'm going to kick it on the top. All right, so there's blue touching blue. Purple needs to go down here. So I'll hide this, solve, return, return. Now let's just go around, make sure we don't have any mistakes. Solved, 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 solved. Back to start. All right, so now we've got layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, and layer 4 solved. Whether you realize it or not, you actually already know how to solve layer 5 and 6. You've done it. You've done it on a 3x3, and you know how on this Megaminx. So back to Einstein's all things are relative. So relatively speaking, layer 5 and 6 is no different than layer 1 and 2. So if you think about this, if you pretend that this yellow is the white bottom, that's no different than layer 1 and 2. And you know how to solve layer 1 and 2. So we're not going to actually turn it and make the yellow the bottom because it offers too much confusion for beginners to make mistakes and ruin their work. We're going to keep white the bottom, we're going to keep gray the top, but we're just going to think about yellow as the bottom. So if we think about yellow as the bottom, we just need this yellow corner to go here, and we know how to do that. We learned it on the 3x3, and we've done it down here. So that's solved. We can go ahead and solve all these corner pieces for layer 5 and 5. But if you happen to see the edge, or if you happen to see an easy F2L, go ahead and grab it. So I know this edge goes here, right there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab it. So green touching green, orange away from orange. All right, now we're going to move to the next one. So I know I need a blue here. So here's the blue. All right, so I can solve this blue just like that. Just think of it as the white. So you can slap that side to solve it, or you can, you know, move the empty slot up and move it in, whichever method you like. If I happen to see the green and pink up here, I'll grab it, but I don't. So I'm just going to move over to the next one. So the next one's red. So to solve it, I can just solve it like that. If it was on this side, you know, same thing, just solve it like that. If I happen to see the pink beige, I'll grab it, but I don't. So I'm going to move over here to green. The green's down here, so let me skip it and come to purple. So here's the purple, which kicked that green out. And then now I can solve the green. And then now what I want to go is look for any edges that aren't solved. So I had a few that I solved, but I have some layer 6 that I did not solve. So for example, let's see if we see the green pink. We do. So pink touching pink, green away from green. That's one method. We'll use the other method on the next one. So right here, this piece goes here. So pink touching pink, beige away from beige. So this time, instead of moving the corner towards it, I'll move it away. And then when I turn it back, it connects. And then I move the empty slot up and I back it in, whatever method you prefer. That piece needs to go here. So what I'm going to do is solve this piece and kick that one out. All right, so orange touching orange, blue away from blue. I'll do the unique rabbit. How do you catch a special rabbit? Unique up on it. All right, solved, 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 not solved. Okay, here's that piece right here. Beige touching beige, blue away from blue. They're paired up, back it in the empty slot. There. So now we're on the last layer, which a lot of people find difficult, but it's actually really easy if you understand some logical principles. I've got a full in-depth tutorial that explains every aspect of this to a better degree of understanding than you probably ever thought was possible. But I'm going to blaze through this just because I have that really in-depth tutorial. So the first thing we're going to do is we want to flip all these gray edges up, making a gray star. That's equivalent to the yellow cross on the 3x3. So in order to do that, I'm just going to use a 3x3 algorithm, what I call the line algorithm, which is front, right, up, right prime, up prime, front prime. And then what that's going to make is an arrow. And this is what I'm looking for. Okay. So once I have this arrow, that's equivalent to line on the 3x3. And again, I explained that in depth in my last layer tutorial. So I'm not going to go in depth right now. But once we have this and that arrow is pointing to the right, we just do that algorithm again. Front, right, up, right prime, up prime, front prime. And what that does is that flips these two edges and it gives us the gray star. So that's what we need. Now what we want to do is we want to flip all of these corners so the edge is facing up. We're going to use a basic 3x3 sequence that's going to rotate these. You're going to mess this up if you're brand new to it. You will make mistakes, but it's just a practice opportunity, so don't worry about it. So first just watch what I do and then maybe rewatch it. But we're going to go down, down, up, up, down, down, up, up. This is all messed up. That's okay. This is flipped. What I have to do is I have to bring the next one that's not flipped. This is where the math is involved. You always hear that it's mathematical, but you don't have to understand the math. But here's where the math comes in. I have to do the same thing. Down, down, up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down, up, up. Once that last corner gets flipped, this will be fixed. So it doesn't matter how many you have wrong. I only had 2 wrong there, which I got kind of lucky, but sometimes you can actually use like some fish algorithms, and here I've got 3 to flip, you know, so you can use some fish algorithms. I go over that in the last layer tutorial, so we're not going to go through all that right now. So now what we're going to learn is just one simple way to shuffle edges around. All right, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but this one is so simple. If you just pay attention, you'll understand it. You can memorize it and just copy me, but I suggest you actually understand it. We're gonna trade these three pieces. So watch, I'm gonna move this one here. I'm gonna move this one here, and I'm gonna move this one here. That's not gonna solve this. I'm just showing you right now. So watch. In order to do that, I hide this one, I bring that here, and those two just traded places. All right, now I'm gonna put that one here, and it traded places, and then now I trade with the last one. So whether you realize it or not, those all shuffled. They shuffle counterclockwise. Now I can do the reverse and shuffle them clockwise, or I can shuffle them differently. I'm just showing you one method. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to shuffle this here, and this here. These two are solved. So watch again. In order to put this pink one here, all I do is hide it, and then I bring here over to the pink one. Okay? Now I want to trade that one. So I just did. And then now I want to put the last one where it belongs, right there. So it's really that simple. So you can memorize that, or you can just see what we're doing. We're just hiding a piece and then putting it in a new location. Pretty simple. All right, now these corners, same thing. We can learn them a lot of different algorithms, or we can literally just look at this piece. This gray, orange and green needs to go right here between the orange and green. So because I know it needs to go there, all I'm going to do is put it there. So I hide it right there, and then it needs to go right here. So I'll take this one out and I'll put the correct one in its place. So now that is solved. All right, so now I have the pink beige. Where does it go? Well, the pink beige goes here. So I just take this one out and it's solved. So that one I just took out is pink green. Where does it go? Well, it goes right here. So I just take this one out and put the correct one in its place. And then now I have orange blue. Where does it go? Right here. So I'm just going to take this bad corner out, put the correct one in, and then the last one is easy. It goes right here. And that's how easy the Megaminx is to solve. If anything confuses you on the first few layers, you're going to have to watch the video a few times. You're not going to get anything the first try, and you're going to have to practice a lot. You'll make mistakes. Don't worry about that. It's just practice opportunities. The more mistakes you make, the better you'll actually learn and understand. And that's the goal, is to learn and understand, not solve it once and put it on a shelf. The other thing is, if you struggle with the last layer, I blazed through that, and there's a few cases and scenarios that can be a little tricky. Just watch my last layer tutorial. Like I said, it'll really open your eyes, and you'll have a better understanding than you thought was possible. So we need to get away from trying to memorize things and copy people. We need to learn logical approaches and critical thinking. So if you have any questions, though, ask in the comments. I try to check it occasionally and reply. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll try to make some more.
Man, I'm already done.
Oh, wow, you got lucky on that one.